What's up guys? Today we have a 2020 6.7 Powerstroke in the shop, and I'm going to be showing you how to program it with Commander Tuner. We're going to do the ECM and the TCM, and this is going to be the same for a 2020 and a 2021. In 2022, they still use Commander, but they switched the way they do things, so I'll try to make a separate video on those newer ones in the future. I got this kit, this tuner from the Diesel Dudes. I'll post a link down in the description, and I'm just gonna quickly show you what comes with the kit. So this is the kit right here. You have the option of doing just delete pipes, which just replace the DPF, or you can go for a full 5-inch exhaust, which is what this is. This is actually the Commander tuner. It comes in this bag. There's a few things in there. We'll go through that in this tuning video. It comes with a switch for shifting between the power levels. You can shift on the fly. This is an EGR delete. And then this is optional, but I recommend getting it. This is just dummy plugs to reconnect on everything you unplug. You can cap the sensors with these just to keep corrosion and water out of it. The Diesel Dudes will ship worldwide, but just make sure you look up your local laws and stay in accordance with them. If this is illegal where you live, I don't recommend you do it. So this is what comes in the bag. This, I don't think we need to use. If we do, I'll let you know, but I'm pretty sure we don't need to use that for Powerstroke. But this will connect into an ECM plug. This gives power. You connect that to the battery. This will connect. This is the actual Commander tuner, so this will connect it to the laptop, and this will connect it to your OBD plug. So the Diesel Dudes will send you a form like this. This is just gonna go over a bunch of stuff regarding the tuning process. They recommend clearing the codes before installing the delete tunes. If you have access to a scanner and you can clear your codes, if you have any codes, do that. If not, you'll probably be okay. Second thing is make sure the delete tune is installed before removing sensors and emission parts. That's the biggest thing. So you want to make sure the tune is working and everything's good before you start removing anything. You can tell if a tune worked successfully if, number one, the truck starts after you program it. That's a big thing. So as long as the truck starts, you're probably okay. If you want to really check, which I recommend, you unplug a few sensors on the exhaust or the EGR system, start the truck again, maybe drive it around a little bit, make sure that no codes pop up, then you know for sure the tune was successful. So they're going to give you this link to GDP products, and this is where you're going to fill out the form for ordering your tunes. So right now we're going to select Commander because that's what it is. We're going to type in the VIN number, the pre-order number, which is on here on the Commander tuner. You're going to put in your email. That's how they'll contact you. And we'll go from there. We're going to select 20 to 2022 Powerstroke. No, this is not a 22. And then just kind of fill out all this stuff. I'll get to the device serial number, and you need the ECU and the TCU number too. That's what we're going to get with the program. So now you're going to want to click this latest Commander/Auto Flasher software download. I click it and it takes me to an invalid link, so I'm going to just try to find it somewhere else. So in a separate tab, go to gdpproducts.com. You're going to go to support, click the little down arrow, downloads, click that arrow, and you're going to go to software. And then you're going to see right here this GDP Commander/Auto Flasher, and you're going to hit download. I already have it on my computer, but this is what you're going to want to download. So I'm going to open up Auto Flasher here. It's going to pop up. And if it needs an update like this, it will automatically tell you. So a new version is available. Do you want to download? Yes. So I'm going to update my Auto Flasher first, and then we'll proceed. So here in my downloads, there it came up. We're going to do the installer. Just follow the prompts. And I'll let you know when it's done. Installation complete. Close. Now I will reopen the Auto Flasher, and there it is. Okay, so plug the Commander into the laptop with the USB cable, and then we're going to go up here to cable and we're going to go connect. And right there, it popped right up. That's going to give you your cable serial number. So I think we can just double click that and then go back in here, device cable serial number. We can paste that and just confirm it's the same, 962B054D. So that's good. So we got our cable serial number. Okay, so now we're gonna get the TCU number. So you're going to keep this plugged into the laptop and then just connect the OBD plug in the other end. Make sure the truck is in the run position, not running, but just in the run position. And then we're gonna go back to cable and we're gonna go connect. It says cable firmware update available. So we're going to go update firmware. So that, again, that was up in cable, and then you go update firmware, remove external power, cycle the USB and press OK. So I think it wants us to unplug this. It's still plugged in. I'm going to press OK. Remove external power, cycle the USB. Well, here, we'll take this out and we'll plug it back in and then press OK. Okay, yeah, now it's doing the thing. So now it's updating the firmware. Update complete, cycle the USB and reconnect. So we're just gonna unplug it again, plug it back in, and okay. So, all right, let's plug this guy back in. Firmware should be updated. Key is still on. And we're gonna go cable connect. All right, so now you see more of this stuff popped up here. So we're gonna go to OBD, we're gonna go to identify, and we're gonna select TCU because we're plugged into the OBD port. We're gonna hit enter. And right there, that should be the number. It will say TCU serial number, and it says it's gonna start with a 59, and that's a 59 right there. So we're just gonna double click that. And see, when you double click it, it changed numbers, don't worry about that. But then we're gonna right click here, and we're gonna paste it. So that's a really long number. So I'm gonna go back in, bring up my auto flasher. If we double click this again, it will switch back to this number. That's the number we need. So just confirm that this number right here is the number that is down in here. When you double click that number, the TCU number, it will automatically copy it and then you can just paste it, just so you know. But just make sure that number is correct, and same with the ECU number when we get that, because they charge a fee if you mess it up. So now we got the TCU number, we're gonna go disconnect, cable and disconnect. And then it says disconnected right there. We're gonna turn off this. I'm just gonna pull the key right out. And we're gonna unplug this, and I'll show you where we're gonna hook it up. We're gonna hook it up under the hood now for the ECU number. So what we're gonna do now is, this is your ECM. We're gonna disconnect all 3 of these plugs. So what you do is you kind of push in here. You push this little tab in. It's hard to do with one hand, but there's a tab here. You're gonna push in that tab with one hand, and then you're gonna use your other hand to pop this lever back. Same with this one, you're gonna push it in here. Well, I push that with my thumb, and then see how it starts coming out. So yeah, that's how you're gonna disconnect these. So now that we're all disconnected, we're just push this one out of the way. This is the most important one out of the way because we're gonna connect into that slot. My mistake, we're actually gonna be plugging into this one with this guy. So you're gonna get it all nice and clear out of the way. You're gonna put that on. Now you're gonna grab these alligator clips and hook the positive to the positive, negative to the negative, and then you're gonna plug it in to the harness for this thing. And then you're going to grab this guy and plug this into that device and then plug it into your laptop. Okay, now we're gonna go back. We're gonna go into cable connect. And now that we're connected again, we're gonna use service mode this time. OBD is when you're plugged into the OBD plug, which we're not anymore. Now we're in service mode. So we're gonna click service mode, identify, and right there, that number popped up. If we go back to our order form, it needs to start with a 40. Open this up, and you can see this starts with a 40. Double click that. Again, see, you double click it and it changes, that's fine. But double clicking it copies it, so now we're just going to paste it here. And if we open this up again, if you double click this number, it'll switch back to the number you want. And so now just make sure this number is the same number that is in here. So once you have the numbers, you can go back to cable, you can go disconnect. We are done with the auto flasher, we can exit out of it. You can unplug this from your engine, and you can plug your 3 connectors back in, and then you can still drive the truck while you wait for the tune to come. It's all plugged back in. The truck should start and drive just like it did before. Beauty. So it says I have an error, it's because I haven't put my email address in yet, but just go over this one more time. Make sure it's all right, and once it's all right, you're gonna go down. We're gonna select a rumble tune for this. Yeah, then you're gonna say, I acknowledge, provide incorrect. Make sure you read these. I acknowledge that, and then you're gonna hit submit. So go check your emails. They're gonna send you a confirmation email, and then they're gonna show you or send you more details on how to actually retrieve the file when they send it to you. I think you gotta log on to something, and then that's where the file will be when you get it. And then I'm just gonna wait. And when we get the tune, I will show you how to put it on the truck. And while we wait for the tune, a word from our sponsor, which is me. I'm selling merch now. This is one of the designs There's a few other ones on the website. I got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, cropped hoodies for women. These videos take a lot of time and effort for me to make. I try to make them as best as I can so that you are really able to easily follow them at home. So if you do feel like showing your support, go to darkheartanddiesel.com and just check out the merch. And if you see something you like, that'd be awesome if you buy it. I appreciate every one of you that buys something. I think it's so cool when people purchase stuff from my store. So thanks. Okay, and we're back. Haven't showered, haven't changed clothes, but I got a haircut. So GDP builds these tunes from the ground up for every truck. So expect about 2-ish days for them to get back to you with your tunes, but I just got mine. So the first email you'll get is this. It'll say approved, and this basically gives you a username and a password to log in when your tune's ready. This does not mean the tune is ready. This is just the first email. This is the second email I got. It just says, hello, your file has been completed and added to tuning text. So now we can use that username and password we got on the previous email to log in. So back to this email, again, username and password right there. Go to tuning.tech. It brings you to this super cool website. Access my support. And then just put in the username and the password they gave you. Okay, got it in, so we're gonna submit. And there you go, you can see your downloads. It says there's 2 files here. You're just gonna go over to the right side and you're gonna click download. One will be an ECM tune and the other one will be a TCM tune. So this is what I downloaded. I'm gonna click open. You might need WinZip for this, I'm not sure, but here are my 2 tunes. You got Shift on the Fly, that's the ECM tune, and we got Trans, that's the Trans tune. So I went into my documents, I made a new folder and I called it Powerstroke Tunes, and I copy and pasted them in there. Now we're gonna go back under the hood. We are gonna tune the ECM first, so we need to disconnect these plugs and hook up that bench flash cable again. Put your alligator clips back on the battery, put the bench flash cable back in and hook it up to the alligator clips. Plug the commander tuner back in and plug it into your laptop. Open up auto flasher, there we go. Cable, we're gonna connect. Now remember, we're in service mode right now because we're underneath the hood. So we're gonna go service mode, identify, just to make sure we got a good connection, and we do. There we got our ECM number again. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go service mode and we're gonna go read. We're gonna get a read file first in case we have a problem, or if we ever wanna put the truck back to stock, then we can use this read file to program it back to stock. So you can see the bar right here, it's just doing a read right now. And I'm gonna save this read file into that same folder I made with the Powerstroke tunes. We'll also be putting the TCM read file in the same folder just so that we can keep track of them. So when it's done getting the read file, this window is gonna pop up, and this is the read right here. So if I were you, I would rename this to the VIN number of your vehicle or something that you're gonna remember it by. So I just labeled it 2020 Powerstroke VIN, and then I put the last 6 digits of the VIN number there, and I'm gonna save it. So here's my downloads. I'm just gonna copy this. This is the stock read, and I'm gonna move it over into the folder I made for it. Once we got the stock read, we're gonna go back into service mode, and we're gonna go right this time. And it's gonna pop up a window. This is my downloads. This is last month, so these are some from the other month. So I gotta go to my documents and go to the folder and find the tunes. And here are the tunes. So there's the read file, and we're gonna do the Shift on the Fly. That is the ECM tune, and we're gonna open it. And as you see, it is now, it's a rumble tune, it even says, and now it's gonna do the flash. So this probably will take a few minutes. It's gonna do its thing a few times. Just let it do its thing. All right, flash successful, it says down there. So we should be able to go to cable and go disconnect. We can close this, and we can remove all this stuff and plug the ECM plugs back in. All right, she's all back to normal. Now we're gonna go underneath the dash in the cab of the truck. So now plug into the OBD plug, connect to the commander, and connect to your computer. So because we have to have the key to the run or on position now, it's recommended that you put a battery charger on the truck, a 2 amp, 5 amp, 8 amp, 10 amp. I just wouldn't go anything over 12 amp, but throw a charger on if you have one, and then we'll proceed to the next step. Okay, so we want the key to the run position. I'm gonna shut off the climate and make sure the radio's off just so we don't use extra power. We're back in the auto flasher. We're gonna click cable and click connect again. This should pop up here, there we go. And now we're in OBD mode. So click OBD and identify, and we wanna identify the TCU, enter. And there it is, we have the number, so we know we have a good connection. Now like we did before, we're gonna go, but we're in OBD this time, remember? So OBD, and we're gonna go read, and we're gonna read the TCU. Do not read the ECU, make sure you're reading the TCU. Enter. And now it's gonna do its thing. let it read, and we're gonna save that read file like we did with the engine file. You're gonna get a bunch of warnings on the dash while you do this. That's totally normal. And I don't know, this is probably gonna take about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10. Okay, it's done reading the TCM. I kept this read, whatever number it gave me. I wrote TCM on here and then wrote the VIN, last 6 digits. So I'm gonna save it in this Powerstroke folder. But anyways, we're gonna exit out of that and we're gonna go back in here. So we are gonna go to OBD again, right? Because we're plugged into OBD. And we're going to write this time. And we wanna write the TCU, enter. It's gonna pop up a window. We're in my Powerstroke tunes right here. So right here, transmod, that should be the one. We're gonna open it up. Checking for available credits. There should be credits on it, yep. So now we're just gonna wait for it to tune the TCM. Again, make sure your key is still on, the vehicle is still in the run mode, or else this won't work. Okay, just finishing up. Flash complete, end time tells you right there. So we should be all good to go. Should be all tuned. We're going to go into here now and we're gonna go cable. We're gonna hit disconnect. Now we can unplug this out of the truck and we're gonna start the truck and make sure it runs. Okay, moment of truth. Oh yeah, exactly what you wanna hear. So now I'm gonna show you how to install the shift on the fly switch. It's not too difficult on these trucks. I should be able to walk you through it pretty easily. If you're watching this video and you just got a single tune, then you won't need to install this switch. So what we're gonna do is down in there, if you can see that kind of nub that my finger's pointing at, I'm gonna use a little razor blade and I'm gonna kind of cut that off and we're gonna try to feed the wires through that up into the engine bay. So as you can see down there, I cut that off. So we're gonna, hopefully that's big enough to get the wires through. And then if I go inside the cab, you can see this grommet up at the top there. I put a little hole in it there. I cut that. And so that's what we're going to try to feed the wires through. Be very careful when you're cutting around that grommet, just because you don't want to cut any of the wires that are already in there. Now I have this coat hanger, my trusty coat hanger, and I'm going to shove this through the firewall from the engine inside the cab. Okay, I got the coat hanger through on this side and you can see it coming out on the other side there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna securely tape these to the coat hanger and I'm gonna try to pull them through. Now be careful with these, you don't wanna bend them, and I recommend kind of staggering them like so, just so that they're not right next to each other, because if they're right next to each other, then it might be too wide to fit through the hole. So I got her taped on, we'll see if she pulls through. And there we go, we got the wires through. So you can take the tape off, get rid of the coat hanger, and we'll go to the next step. So we got the wires through and they're actually going to plug into this sensor. So you can disconnect this sensor and this is where we're gonna plug them into right there. So now you can feed these wires in. See, I already have one fed in. So it doesn't matter which way you put them, just get them both in and you'll hear them kind of click really gently as you put them in. If it's not fitting, then just grab this wire and rotate it like that 180 degrees and then try to slide it in. Like I said, doesn't matter which wires where, but as long as they're both in, looking like that. Now I'm just gonna kind of run mine along here from down in there. I'm gonna zip tie it all up nice and you're gonna plug in your connector. And there it is, I have it ran down, should be good. I forgot to mention this, but after I put this connector on the switch wiring, I put this black loom that it comes with over top just to protect it. So for the switch there, I'm gonna drill a hole here and that's where I'm gonna mount the switch. You can really mount it wherever you want. I believe we need a little pry tool like that, preferably plastic so we don't wreck anything. And we're gonna kind of pop this off here a little bit. If you can grab your hand up here and maybe pop it off a little bit with a tool on this side and grab your hand up here. And we're just gonna pull it and this thing should unclip and just kind of fold down. I'm just gonna try to kind of work this, get it in there kind of like that. Maybe pop this side out a little bit and we're just gonna fold it all down. Those plastic clips were tight, but there we got it down and this should be more than enough room for us to work on. So it looks like back here, there's some room here for a switch. That's where we're gonna go for. So look under the dash, I ran my wires right through here. Make sure you're happy with where they're gonna go. And then essentially this switch is gonna sit right up like that. There is this little clip right here that we wanna watch out for. So when we are drilling a hole, we wanna make sure we are kind of in the middle of the gap from this clip to the edge of the panel. So kind of right around there somewhere. So there's my hole. This is a 3/8 drill bit. Make sure you're using a 3/8 drill bit. And now we're gonna mount the switch up in here. If you wanna make sure your switch has power before you mount it, just turn the key to the run position. And on the back, there's this little white button. And if I press it, you'll see that green light comes on, right, like that. Make sure you have the switch all the way to the left position. And the green light will be the brightest. As you rotate the switch to the right, if you press that button, the green light will get dimmer and dimmer, and that's how you know your switch is hooked up. Grab a 1/2-inch wrench and you can take this nut off. I took that little spiky washer off too. And then this washer that's still on it, that has the little detent right there, make sure you keep that in the same position it's in. If you move it to another slot, it will make there be more or less positions on the switch, but you wanna make sure that it only has 5. So make sure you're in the number 5 hole right there, and that the switch only clicks over 5 times, or 5 positions, so 4 clicks. Then this little nub right there on the right side, I use side cutters and I just cut it off flush just because it's more of a pain in the ass than anything. And there you can see I cut it off. So now just feed your switch through and you can put your washers on it there and tighten it up so that it's nice and snug. So now we can just test it, make sure it's all the way to the left, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Now we're gonna put the knob on. It does come with this sticker. If you wanna put that sticker on there, you have to put this on before you tighten it down. But I just kind of think they look cheap and tacky, so I don't even bother putting them on. But now grab your knob and the Allen key that comes with it, and you're just gonna loosen off this set screw, and you're gonna slide it on to where you want this little indicator, and then tighten it up. I set it so that position 3 is right up, so I have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back to 3. So that's how I did mine. If you find your switch is hard to rotate, loosen this set screw and just pull the knob out a little bit and then retighten it, because sometimes it rubs on the washers. And now with my remaining little chunk of loom, I'm gonna put it on these wires here, and then we're just gonna carefully fold this back up, make sure the wires aren't getting pinched or anything, and clip this back in place. I guess I could turn the ignition off here. But there's our switch. It's all good. So go underneath the dash, zip tie the wires out of the way so they're not gonna rub anything, and that's it. So that's it for the tuning. I will be posting another video showing how to swap the exhaust with an aftermarket one and remove the EGR. Aside from that, there are still some plugs you need to unplug on the engine bay if you're not deleting the EGR. So assuming you installed Delete Tunes, you're gonna wanna unplug your EGR valve, you're gonna wanna unplug whatever that thing is, and then your throttle valve is actually down here and kind of on the underside of this. That's a throttle valve. You need to unplug that too. So what I would do to double check the tune is I would unplug those sensors, I would start the truck, I'd even take it for a short drive, make sure you have no engine lights on, and if you don't, then you know the tune was all good and you're ready to start removing the emission parts off the vehicle. But like I said, that'll be a completely separate video. I'll post a link down to that in the description. And yeah, if you found this video useful, if it helped you out, please consider going to darkirondiesel.com. Check out the merch I got for sale there. I put a lot of time and effort in these videos to try to make them as straightforward as possible for you guys to follow at home. So yeah, I'd really appreciate the support. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you on the next video.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.